And then second is just gonna go into the basic. Do they understand the importance of pointing it down? Do they understand the importance of checking for a bullet in the chamber, dropping the mag, things
I
like
understand.
that. But that's how I assess it, bro. Just based on that series.
This is the Leo Clamaco Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Leo Clamaco Podcast. My guest today, in my opinion, a true American about family, faith, and guns. Derrick Grace II.
Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, bro.
I thank you for having me.
I am so happy that you're here, bro.
Likewise.
Man, you are a very interesting person.
Appreciate it.
You are someone that I think you are a product of this era and this generation. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that what you do is something that very few people choose to stand up and actually do. Very few people have the balls and the decency to really stand up for what's right, to speak about things that others would be so afraid to even touch.
Right, absolutely. I agree, bro. 100%.
You know?
Yep.
Where did this start? Where did this come from?
I'd say from my early childhood, bro, I've always been, quote unquote, rebellious. I questioned things early on.
They love putting labels on everything, don't they?
Right. I got in a lot of trouble early on just for being that child that whether it be school, religion, food, I just always had questions and I never would just go with the flow. So
right.
Early on, I was heavy in speaking my mind and my mom was big on her sons being articulate, being expressive. She taught us how to speak very well. So early on, I was saying whatever I felt I needed to say, what came to my heart.
Man, that's powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it.
You know, because a lot of people are really scared to speak their mind.
No, bro, I run into it every day. It's a lot of people, influencers, celebrities, a lot of people I meet, the higher world, underworld, and that conversation is the same. Like, man, I wish I could. Man, sometimes this, and I hate doing this, and I hate doing that. But
right.
I just believe in moving unapologetically. And I'd rather be true to myself before I be true to anybody else's narrative of what I should be doing and what I should be saying at 35 years old.
It's like mask on, fuck it, mask off, right?
Exactly.
You know, they say that when you meet someone for the first time, it's really their representative,
Absolutely.
right? It's not really them. You got to peel those layers first a little bit before you get to the real person.
Yep.
But you're authentic as fuck.
I appreciate it, right?
And you succeed. I don't give a fuck if this gets demonetized or whatever, but I want to go into guns because I love guns.
Me as well.
I own a bunch of them. I love shooting them. I love the idea of them. I love that this country allows us to have it. Mm-hmm. When did your passion start?
Well, my passion started early on, and it's crazy because my influences wasn't always the best. So initially it started because my father is law enforcement. He's retired Secret Service.
Okay.
So seeing him with the gun.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very. Seeing him with the gun piqued my interest. But I'm not going to lie, bro.
Real quick, which presidents did he work under?
He's met, he's worked with Obama, Bush.
That's quite an honor.
Who else? Man, he in his game room, he got him lying on the wall. I can't even think of him. He got pictures with some of everybody, but I know he got into the sheriff's office as a deputy in 87. He moved up to Secret Service probably in like 2007 or 8. So pretty much anybody from 08 up until now, he's had he's done dealings with or had business with or protected per se.
Incredible.
Yep. Appreciate him, man. But early on, that's what piqued my interest, seeing him as a deputy with his gun. He started out in the jail, worked his way up to the streets. He had a shooting in the streets, went to detective, then went to Secret Service. But following that, I'm not gonna lie, man. It was a lot of movies and symbolism that I saw in gangster movies that really, really took my interest to another level.
I hear you. Same here.
I'm gonna keep it all the way real, bro. I bought my Uzis because of movies like Menace to Society. I bought my Tommy guns because of movies like I can't remember what the name of that movie, Hoodlum. It's just a number of movies culturally that had an impact, and I just couldn't wait to grow up to be like, oh, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. So
for me, it was Heat.
Oh, bro, Heat. The way they executed in Heat and the way they move, bro, it was just I know it was only a movie,
right?
But
same.
It was just a beautiful picture, bro.
It really was.
Heat, one of my favorite movies.
It was like art.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. You would have thought they was real shooters, and they really did that in real life because the acting in that movie was top tier.
I agree.
Yep.
What is your favorite gun?
Favorite gun, bro, is Desert Eagle. I love 50s. That's my
Okay.
favorite. I was once on a mission to try to collect every 50, but it's just really unrealistic because they produce more custom-made 50s every year. So I've been collecting my entire life, but
You'll be chasing it forever.
exactly, bro. Yeah, but I would say 50 cal. My favorite everyday carry is gonna be a Glock 43X or a Hellcat. I like subcompact 9mm, and I trust my children with the 9. Like within my home, I try to make sure I keep a lot of guns that everybody universally can use. You know, my children they're not ready for the 50. But 9mm 40, the women in my life, the children, everybody can get a hold of those and protect the house. So,
How many people are in your home that live there?
on average, bro, well, I have 10 children, 5 moms, but the moms aren't there. They visit from time to time or they don't. But 10 children for the most part and 2 women.
And so that's 13 people?
On and off, yep.
Right, okay. And everyone knows where the guns are.
Except my younger children.
Okay.
'Cause my children, the age they range, I got 1 to 17. So
What's the age cutoff for you for guns?
right now, my 8-year-olds are getting introduced because they weren't, nor wasn't as mature as their older siblings. My 2 oldest, I started at 3 and 6.
Really?
Yeah, but my next wave of children, they're just getting acclimated at 8 because they just don't take it that serious.
All right, this is a personal question because I have a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. My 5-year-old, I toy with the idea of introducing it to him, but I have these hesitations. What is your suggestion to introducing it to a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old?
So my biggest thing, bro, is if the child truly understands like what death is and that these have the ability to bring that about. And then second is just gonna go into the basic. Do they understand the importance of pointing it down? Do they understand the importance of checking for a bullet in the chamber, dropping the mag, things like that?
I understand.
But that's how I assess it, bro, just based on their seriousness and their maturity. Because all children are created equal. Like I said, my 2 oldest was ready to go at 3 and 6. My next set I got 2 8-year-olds. And they're not as serious. They're more like girly girls. They're like, they want to play Roblox and play with dolls
and Minecraft.
Right. My oldest daughter, my oldest son, they got me early on in my teens and 20s. So
Got it.
They're a little more rugged.
Got it.
Yeah.
Very interesting. What are the rules for you in your house with the guns? Clearly, respect the gun, right?
Right, yeah. Respect it for sure, bro. But other than that, I don't have a lot of rules. I train them. Now, when it comes to their younger siblings, of course, they got to keep them out their way and put them up. But when it's just myself, the women in the house, or the older siblings, you liable to open a drawer and it's just gonna be a Uzi in there. You liable to find a cig in the living room somewhere in the China. I remember one day, literally, I'm in my China cabinet. I'm like, who put my cig in here? Like, a pistol grip cig. So when the older ones, when it's just us at the house, we kick it, however, because they train. They've been shooting for years and they're comfortable. When the little ones come, we putting stuff in the safe or we concealing it to make sure they don't get a hold of it because they don't quite understand the magnitude of pulling that trigger.
Yeah, but that's a hard concept to really. No,
it is, bro. And like when it comes to my older ones, I have real rules. Like we have a plan of action if we ever were to have a visitor that we didn't want to be there. So if they happen to make it past security, my daughter has a vantage point where she can see essentially over the front of the house on the outside and internally. So my thing is always 9 times out of 10, if they come in, they're gonna come to the master bedroom. I'm the only bedroom on the bottom level. You come to the master, and if you able to make it out of the master. I tell my kids all the time, like, y'all better not let them make it past y'all. One of y'all better catch him. Like, my son is typically, he's like on the far west side of the house, and my daughter is front and center above the front door. So she gets to see everything coming and going. He can see everything coming and going from the back.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
That's a whole different, like, mentality and a way to train and raise your kids. Let's go into homeschooling. Mm-hmm. Where did that come from? Was that always the case for you? were your kids once in public school and then you pulled them out?
Yeah, bro. So of my 10 children, only one of them have been to public school. The other 9.
I'm guessing the oldest one.
Yeah, the oldest one.
Yeah.
You know, we trial and
Right.
error, we experiment.
Yeah, I get it.
So I planned him around 11th grade. Me and his mom made him in 12th grade. So I had him right like at 18 to 19. And I did what most of us do. We put him in school. But bro, I noticed early on he would stay in trouble, but he would complete his work and get things done. And I started realizing as I started studying the school system, I just realized like children that we have little geniuses out here, but because they have behavior issues or they're not stimulated within school,
right?
Then the schools will push them into different classes or chastise them or label them this and that. So, bro, he kept getting in trouble, and by 2nd grade, I just was like, I'm gonna take him out. I pulled him out in 2nd grade.
What made you do that?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not fond of the curriculum in the United States. I feel like they're building more robots than individuals.
100%.
As I assess some of the greatest things I learned, or was supposed to be the greatest, I remember taking senior survival. They're supposed to get us ready for real life. And 2 marquee things that stick out is they taught me how to make a pillow, and they sent the boys home wearing a pregnant suit so we would know what it felt like to be pregnant.
Wow.
And in retrospect, I just think about like, y'all didn't do much to get me ready for life. I ain't gonna lie, bro. If I could have dropped out in maybe 9th grade, I would have did it. Because I felt like by 9th grade, I had the basics, reading, writing, math, things of that nature.
You have enough.
Yeah, bro, but I'm not fond of the curriculum. I'm not fond of the safety measures in school. I'm not fond of what they feed them in school. And I'm not fond of the repetitive sexual assaults that take place in K-12. I tell everybody, like, it's 350 to 500 cases per year in the K-12 system. It's just, school just not safe like it used to be no more.
No, it's not.
Like, when I was going, bro, we had bullies. But other than that, like, we didn't really worry about if somebody was going to shoot us today for nothing because they were pissed with their wife or their life is going downhill or...
That shit crazy, bro.
Right, and I know things that happened back then with teachers, but it almost seemed like it's normalized now. Like, teachers just... Yeah, they just wilding out with kids. Like, yeah, bro, we living in an interesting world. So
just to push back a little bit, what would you say to the argument of, oh, but kids need other kids and they're like, you know?
Bro, I've had that argument with mothers of my children so many times. So, bro, this one thing I always ask them. Of their graduating class, how many people do they still keep in contact with? Are they still friends? And how many of their friends went on to be successful individuals in industries that require a high level of socialization? And it's typically 0. Most people say like, damn, you're right. I don't talk to none of my friends. And I don't know anybody that made it because they're a social butterfly. They're not analysts, sports commentators, any of that. So I do, and I'm in agreement, bro. I feel like the social element is needed because at some point we're going to transition as their parents and they need to know how to politic in real life. But I also feel like you can still homeschool and create that medium to where they have a social life as well. Because, like, especially these days, it's a homeschool community out there. Like, it's a whole world of homeschool.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, you could jump
COVID also boosted that real quick.
Absolutely. You could jump on Facebook and meet fellow homeschoolers immediately, you know, and set up play dates, kick it, whatever the case may be. Yeah.
Do you have your own curriculum? Did you buy into a curriculum? Do you do a community? How does this work?
So, yeah, bro, I have my own curriculum. I've been writing curriculum since 2015, 16. And I'm very grateful for the people that made the calling because initially I didn't make a curriculum. I was just showing my homeschool teachings on the internet. It went viral and people was like, I want to teach my kids this. And I'm like, oh, shit, let me make this into a product. Because I had a retail business then. And, bro, I made my first curriculum. And I just never looked back. I transitioned to education completely back then, and it's been going that way since. So, yeah, I got probably 8 or 9 curriculums at this point. I'm a best-selling author based off one of my first books, curriculums, courses, classes, books, all type of stuff now.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Like, I couldn't even imagine putting a curriculum together. I don't even know where to begin. How did you, you know what I mean?
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you the true story. People were calling for it. I didn't know what to do. I'm scrambling like, damn, I got an opportunity to make some money, but how I make the money?
Right.
Bro, I took a shroom that weekend and came up with the idea to make a curriculum.
Bro,
I made the curriculum.
The most incredible ideas came out of shroom.
Yeah, bro. I remember just chilling. I'm like, man, I'm gonna take a shroom. I took my shroom, bro, and literally in my downloads, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a curriculum. And I ain't gonna lie, bro, the first curriculum was only like 41 pages. I had no idea what I was doing.
That's actually quite a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, bro, I just whipped it up. I can't even remember who my graphic. Oh yeah, Naughty. He was my graphic designer back then. I had him make a cover, and bro, I just started selling them, and it took off from there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Bro, you were nominated for a Grammy, or you won a Grammy?
I was nominated. Me and my daughter were featured twice on Royce da 5'9's album, so I was nominated for the Grammy.
That's really cool.
Yep.
How did that come to be?
Bro, Royce just reached out one day. Well, he reached out, and then his management reached out, and then we worked it out. He put the vocals on there, and he put out a dope album, and it got nominated for a Grammy. So we all got to rejoice in that moment.
That's really cool.
Yep. Shout out to bro. I appreciate him big time for that.
For real.
Yep.
He's a true OG.
No, for sure.
You know, he's someone that's super underrated, I think.
Oh, I agree, bro.
He doesn't get the flowers he deserves.
Yeah, bro, he rap better than most, for sure.
100%. Extremely underrated.
Yep.
I think it's him and Black Thought who are extremely underrated.
I agree, bro. I agree. Him. I know for me, him, Black Thought, Fab.
Yes.
Freddie Gibbs.
He's nasty.
Yeah, bro. I got a couple more that I feel like bar for bar they really go, but people just overlook them.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
When did music come into your life?
Early on, bro, I was a very musical child. My mom and dad were both very musically inclined. So one day my mom would be listening to Putting on the Ritz by Taco, then Rockwell, then Michael Jackson and Sade. Yeah, I remember my mom bought me my first Bone Thugs and Harmony album. Like, my mom was into a lot of R&B and soul and hip hop, and my pops was just strictly R&B.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
How many siblings do you have?
3. I got nothing but brothers. 3 brothers.
How was that?
That was great, bro.
Where are you in the lineup?
I'm the middle on both sides.
Okay.
So my mom got 3, my dad got 3, but 2 of us are in both categories with mom and dad.
Got it.
And then they both had that one additional one, so I'm the middle child on both. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I loved it.
Are all the stigmas true of being the middle kid?
For me, I ain't gonna lie, bro. They are. Most of them that I heard have been trouble. Like, yep, they say the middle child gonna give you hell, and I was that one. But yeah, bro. I love having brothers. I did yearn for a sister at some point, but I got over it, and it was just cool to have a bunch of brothers and a bunch of things that we could relate on. We was ninjas, sports, whatever. We was into everything together. So yeah, I had a good time having nothing but brothers.
Did you always want 10 kids?
I did, bro. Early on, that was something I wanted. Early on, I think my mom and dad getting divorced at 1 made me like really yearn for that family.
Got it.
But what I've learned in retrospect, bro, is a lot of women have bought into my program early on, and when they have kids from me, they develop a higher level of expectation, and they want me to change my lifestyle, meaning like they want me to deal with only one woman. And when I say no, I ain't gonna lie, bro, it happens the same way every time. So I still want a family. Like, I want an actual home base where, I ain't gonna lie, bro, I want 2 more children immediately. I'm actually working on that. So before the year out, I want 12, right? But I want one of my children.
I love how you said that. I'm currently working on that.
One of my children, bro, 2 of my children, somebody got to be able to experience, like, I woke up with mom and dad, you know, up until my adult life. I really yearn for that, but I realized a lot of times I attract women who initially they buy into it, and they change their mind, which they're allowed to, but they change their mind somewhere along the journey, and then it's back to square A, starting over and trying again.
How'd you pull it off?
I mean, bro, the biggest thing would be I set the tone early on.
Okay.
So nobody can say they don't know what they're getting into because I'm very vocal.
Right.
And I'm very...
This is the deal.
Yeah, I'm very public and out loud with how I'm living. And I don't mind sharing my vision. I want a village.
Right.
I want a multitude of children, a multitude of moms, and I want us to collectively conquer as much as we can in this world, in this country especially, before we transition and set these children up for a great living. So, yeah, bro, that's typically how I roll it out. And that'd be the crazy part. They be knowing what they signing up for. But then 2 years in, they be like, oh, I want you to myself. And I'm like, come on now, you know that's not how this works. And then they give me the ultimatum in which I never conform. I didn't conform for my parents, so I'm definitely not conforming.
Right.
At 35, and then I'm back at square A.
I feel like there's some people that are just meant for the world.
I agree, bro. And do, bro. I'm gonna tell you something real, I've never shared publicly. I agree fully, and I feel like certain men raise the archetype. So I feel like men like me are supposed to date. Multiples and have a gang of experiences because we raise the archetype. And what I mean by that is like I've dealt with women that we won't deal anymore, but they hit me up and I'll be like, how you been? Oh, I ain't dealt with nobody since you left. I can't deal with these motherfuckers no more. I'm like, why? Right. Because you showed me this and you taught me this and you taught me that, and I'm just not going back. So I feel like you
set that bar real high.
Yeah, bro. You gotta plant those type of seeds so the archetype is raised. Like I couldn't imagine what the world would be like if there were 50 Tupacs. Or if there was 100 Nipseys, or if you had 200 Elons, or whatever the case may be. Right. Trump, whoever you want to name. Like, if you planted 30 of them, just imagine
the influence,
the positive ripple effect that would have on the world. So I feel like I fall into that category of this energy needs to be multiplied so we could change things.
It's incredible.
Appreciate it, bro.
How does the impact that you have in the world, how do you see that? Are you able to live in the moment, smell the roses, or does it all just fly by?
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Unfortunately, it flies by. I'm not gonna lie, in that part I hate at times that my life is so fast paced. It's like the best analogy I give is like I'm deep in the water and there's no raft. The only way you get back is you just got to gradually take your time and swim back. So I do, because my head is underwater, because I'm busy trying to either get back or go deeper. I do miss a lot of the love or a lot of the change. Like I was just telling her, it just felt good to be outside in Miami and feel the love. I literally forgetting a lot of people know me. It's a lot of love and a lot of resources. So yeah, bro, I miss it a lot of times, unfortunately.
That's awesome, bro. Getting that love, getting that appreciation, getting that feedback.
Right, absolutely.
That what you're putting out there is having an effect. It's connecting. It's landing.
Right. Yeah, I had a guy today. I was at Jerk. I'm in line and he like, man, I've been saving up for that board game, man. I'm just like, bro, you tripping? I got him in the trunk. You can have one. He was just like, man, this made my day. I needed this, bro. And I just be forgetting. I just told in that moment, I really be forgetting how much love I get outside. I'm not gonna lie, bro, and I'm not really a sociable person. I be cooped up in the house a lot, so that don't help either. That I'm always in the house. I'm not very sociable, so. And sometimes people tell me I look unapproachable, so they be hesitant. Like I can't tell you how many people DM me like, man, I saw you in the mall today. You look a little crazy though. I didn't want to bother you. I just want to say what's up. And I was like, bro, you can come holler at me. I'm a normal person. I just move a certain way when I'm out in public.
Do you think that what impact do you think your kids are gonna see from what you do?
That's a great one, bro. I think there's gonna be a lot of impact family-wise, the way I structure, the way I put my children first, the way I've attempted to put as many people in my family on as I can. Confidence is a big one for me. And I see it in some of my children now. They're extremely confident. They don't give a damn about what people are saying or what's going on. They're just gonna stick to their script. And I ain't gonna lie, bro. I just think the abundance, because I do live life in abundance. I want a lot of homes. I've purchased a lot of gold. I've purchased a lot of guns. I've experienced a lot of beautiful women and things of that nature. So I think they are gonna have an abundant mindset and almost feel not entitled from a snobbish way, but I think they're gonna understand the importance of putting in work so you are validated in your entitlement. I do feel entitled at times, but I feel like I've given the game so many years and so much information and so much progress that I'm owed everything that comes my way. So I almost feel like I'm supposed to get all the good that comes to me because I've given so much back.
to your point, just talking to you, it's clear that you figured something out, right? Like,
Right.
and it's like, once you figured that out, it's really hard to go back,
It is very hard.
you know? Because like, you see the other side.
Right.
And like, how can others that don't see it see it? Do you know what I mean? Like, how can, well, because, let me take a step back. You're someone that helps others see it,
Right. Right.
right? Mm-hmm. How do you think your influence helps others see it?
I think a lot, bro, when they meet me and they realize like I'm not superhuman. I don't have any degrees. I wasn't born into an inheritance. They really see like it's tangible. Like it's people out here with these type of results, and they didn't just drop out of the sky or come from a meteorite. That's one. Number two, bro, is just my relatability. When I teach and I speak to people, I try to meet them where they're at. So because like, and shout out to my mom and the way she taught us to articulate, but I'm able to code switch. I can go in any room and politic on any level, the highest or the lowest. So I think that also provides a level of comfortability and relatability to where they're able to open their minds up and receive the message I'm giving. And outside of that, bro, just like being out here, just being accessible, being in reach, being touchable, being approachable. I think that's one of the main ways. And two, when they see my beginnings, because like I said, I didn't come from an inheritance. I came from a blue collar family. Nobody was an entrepreneur. We were taught, go to school, make good grades, get your degree, get your job, work your way up, retire, die off. So based on that too, I think that helps draw them in to understand that they can also do it.
I want to get a little personal. Explain to me the face tattoos.
All right, so I got the first one in 2012. I was a 911 dispatcher. I called in on the holiday. I called in on Thanksgiving 2011. They suspended me indefinitely because of that. They held me out to dry for like 3 to 4 months. They fired me early February.
Wow.
Mid-February. And I told myself I was never going to be solely dependent on anybody, corporate or not corporate again. And that was just like, I'm not going to lie, bro, I used to be one of the most complacent, procrastinating, lazy people. And like my work ethic was not up to par whatsoever, right? So I knew it was only one way that I was going to really, I am one of those people that perform very well under pressure though. But I knew the only way that I actually would perform at my highest was to put myself in a position that I couldn't go back if I wanted. And I just remember when I lost that job, my dad telling me like, hey, don't worry about it. I'll get you another dispatcher job. Because I was at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office in Tampa.
How old were you?
21.
Okay.
21, 22. And he like, don't worry about it. I'll get you a dispatching job at the Tampa Police Department. It's in the same city, just a different agency. And I just remember being like, no, I'm finna draw that line in the sand, and I'm gonna make it to it. I'm gonna put it in the perspective of where they wouldn't want to hire me, even if I did want the job back. So I'm forever grateful for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, not for that job, but for the fact that they fired me. Because had they not, bro, I probably would still be there.
I was just gonna say that's probably one of the best things that ever happened to you.
It was, bro. Because if they didn't send me off, I wouldn't have left.
I think that's when you figured it out.
Yeah, bro. I realized in that moment.
There's no going back because you literally said, fuck it.
Right.
I'm gonna make myself unhireable. Fuck them.
No, bro, that was the main goal, the top priority. I ain't gonna lie, bro, it's still some days because this year makes 13 years, and I still just be like, damn, I've been doing this for I've been paying my own check for 13 years. That's crazy, but
that's crazy. Congratulations.
Thank you, bro. I was just thinking about like 2 days ago, like, damn. And like I was telling you, like a lot of times I don't get to sit and have those retrospective moments what I did for a second. I just was like, that's crazy. I really been taking care of my own self and all these people for 13 years.
I was interviewing someone and they were saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, well, I'm actually doing it now on the podcast with you. Right. This is how I get to reflect.
Right.
And really see what I've done.
That's a fact, bro. That you're not lying. Because it really just hit me again like.
Right.
13 years, man. You're going to be 40 in 5 years. And you really, like, I retired my mom at 27. Me and my dad are co-owners and on our security company and our gun store. So it'll be conversations like this. I start going down my list and I'm like, damn, boy, you did a lot.
Yes.
As a 20-year-old, you did a whole lot. Now you're in your mid-30s.
That's incredible.
Appreciate it, man.
Talk to me about that gun store and the security business.
So yeah, bro. I'm more so early on. I was the financer and the marketing. My dad, because he was Secret Service, they pretty much grandfathered him in. But man, I was on him for like a year. I'm like, Dad, we gotta open a gun store. And he like, man, I'm retired. I don't want. I'm like, Dad, come on, let's do it. So it was right around 2019 to 2020 maybe. And I'm like, Dad, we got to do it. And especially when the pandemic hit and I started seeing the price of ammo and gun prices shoot up.
Yes.
I'm like, Dad, if we get that wholesaling,
The time is now.
Yeah, we gonna make a killing. So yeah, man, he got the FFL. ATF came and did they did their due diligence. They got to check the building, make sure everything is everything. And then from there, we was off to the races. Shortly after that, my situation started getting so hectic to the point that I needed security. And then my dad was just like, well, get them temporarily. In the meantime, I'm gonna do the paperwork so we can open our own security company. We eventually did that. So to this current day, we have Grace's Ultimate Gun Store in Tampa, and then we also have Grace Private Security, our security company.
Did you ever think that you'd be in a place in your life where you need security?
No, bro, I didn't. I didn't. I used to see people with security and be like, man, that shit ain't that serious.
Right.
And I ain't gonna lie, bro, it didn't get that serious to me until I got a death threat one time. I've got maybe 4 of them. I ain't paid them no mind, but it was one that was a good one because he sent me my address. And I just was like, all right, well.
Shit got real.
Yeah, we gonna get some security outside. Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought about that maybe probably like 2 months ago, and I was just like,
bro, why'd they want to kill you? What the fuck?
Yeah, bro. For me, this is what it was, right? I was like, I wonder if that motherfucker that sent that DM that day know he done cost me like $1 million. Because as I look at my payroll over the years, I'm like, damn, I've spent this much money on security. I'm just like, damn, it's crazy how one DM could cause me to have to make an investment that large. But I'm glad we did it, though, because it gave a lot of my family opportunities. And we were able, based on the knowledge we got from starting a security company, we was able to educate a lot of other families on how they could start their own. So it worked out. But
another thank you for that DM.
yeah, exactly. Yep. But that's how the whole security thing started. But no, early on, I'm like, no. Bro, it used to be bad at one point. So I keep home security. Now at times, if I'm going somewhere where I feel like I really need it, I'll bring it. But for the most part, it's just me, my lady, a couple of people here and there. But it was one season I had bodyguards. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, we would do motorcades, and they'll block traffic and shit.
That's awesome.
Bro, they used to piss my neighbors off so bad. Like, we pull out, you got 2 in front of me, 2 in the back, people at the gate, because to get in my neighborhood is the gate. These motherfuckers will pull out the main road, block both lanes with the cars. They hopping out with the AR. It did look good. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I definitely felt like the president.
Yes.
But on payroll, I was just like, all right, y'all ass gotta go. This crazy, but I did enjoy it though, bro.
Talk to me about a setback that you had that you were like, damn, let's learn from this and make sure this never happens again.
Oh, I got a great one. 2024. I think personally and business-wise was my worst year ever. How did that go? So, bro, I took a risk. I took a HELOC out on 2 of my most lucrative properties. And I made an investment into a home in Georgia. It ended up backfiring. And the way I laid it out is I would have that equity back quickly to throw back into those properties to make sure everything was safe. It didn't work out that way. So not only did I lose a property in Georgia, which wasn't a big deal because I live in Florida. I wasn't tripping on that. But it affected 2 of my main, like, multi-million-dollar properties in Florida. Shortly after that, my grandma passes, then my daughter dies like 8 days after her. One of my daughters died 8 days after her.
Wow, I'm so sorry to hear that.
That's all good, bro. I appreciate it. So, yeah, bro, that was one of the biggest 2024 in totality was one of the biggest learning curves of my life, personally and business-wise. So moving forward, it really just changed my whole outlook on ownership and how much to own.
Tell me the lesson there. What was the mistake and what was the lesson there?
The mistake was, bro, I have to stop doing for people what they're not willing to do for themselves. Because that house in Georgia wasn't for me.
Got it.
I took a HELOC out on two cribs that are for me to go buy somebody $1 million home in Georgia that had already burnt me on $1 million house in Florida. But love will make you do some crazy shit. So that was that lesson, bro. Like, I'm not doing anything else for anybody that they at least aren't like, if you're not willing to do it for yourself.
Right.
Like,
Got it.
If I ever do that again, you got to meet me at the table with your $500,000 and my half. But me just pounding my chest, head honcho, I'm the man, I got it, that's out. So that was the lesson learned on that one, bro. And even with my grandmother, my daughter passing, just the lesson with that was just getting my time back. Like, my children can't do anything in 30 years with me being hustler of the year. But they could do a whole lot with the time spent and me being there and me being getting back to being a hands-on dad and not so much a businessman. But yeah, bro, those were two of my greatest lessons in 2024. And moving forward, what I learned too is I have to stop investing from a sentimental place. At this point, I had like 8 properties and 6 of them were empty. And I remember my dad calling me, he's like, what you gonna do with these houses, man? You need to rent them out and make some money. I'm like, nah, Dad, that's grandma's house. I ain't letting nobody live in grandma's house, and that was my toy room, man.
Got it.
He like, man, that shit don't matter. You better get some money or these gonna become bills.
Right.
And I ain't gonna lie, bro, on like 2 of those, I didn't listen. I end up having to sell them to make the money to at least sustain myself, because it's cool until you realize you gotta cut 6 yards in 1 month. Or the air conditioning break at 2 different homes, and now you got a real problem. So
Right.
Yeah, bro. Those are my 2 biggest lessons I took. Well, maybe 3 or 4 biggest lessons I took home in 2024.
If you don't mind me asking, how old was your daughter and how did she pass away?
Yo, she was 2 months old, and I think they call it SIDS. Sudden infant death syndrome.
Yeah.
So yeah, bro. I'm not sure prior how it went, but I know she was laid down to sleep, and somebody propped her bottle, and I couldn't be mad at that, because we've done that. Like, I got 10 children. We've done that time and time again, and just nothing happened. So I get mom or whoever might have thought, like, nothing's going to happen. But, yeah, bro, that was an interesting night. She's with her mom. I live like 10 minutes from mom. So I'm back home. I'm chilling. And, bro, she called me like 4 times back to back. And I ain't gonna lie, like, I'm politicking with one of my other women. So when I see the call, I'm like, what she want? I'm like, I call back.
Right.
But she called 3 more times. I'm like, all right, let me answer this. I pick up, and she just like, Dynasty's dead. I'm like, what? Wow. And in my mind, I'm like, she joking. I'm like, who the fuck jokes like that? And she know that wouldn't even be funny. So I'm like, what you mean dead? And she was like, she's dead. And I'm like, I'm just scrambling at that point, bro. So I just dropped it. And I ain't dropped the phone. I'm like, I'm on my way. I just throw my clothes on, shoot over there, and yeah, bro, it was an interesting to see your child personally like lifeless is like real. I don't know the word, but it's a real interesting.
It's different, right?
It's a different event, and then even when I called 911 and they're instructing me on CPR, that was even crazier, bro. And I remember like she had already passed, but I remember like 10 minutes in. I don't know if that was her body just like finally shutting down, but she made like a loud gasp. And I just remember getting excited. I'm like, oh shit, I did it. And I just like picked her back up, and I'm like, oh no, that's just probably the body shutting down. And even when EMS came in and they cut her shirt out, it was just
surreal.
Yeah, it was the craziest shit I ever experienced, bro. It was crazy.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
You've been through a lot.
I remember my pops coming in as I'm giving her CPR. And he like grabbed his chest, and I'm like, all right, man, listen, you can't come. Now you trying to have a heart attack and shit. I'm about to have a heart attack. It's too much shit going on here. The kid's gonna freak out. I'm already scrambling like, what the hell is going on? But yeah, man, it was a crazy ass night.
Was the fact that she was 2 months old in some weird shape or form, was that easier or harder? Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, bro, I know exactly what you're saying, because I wrestled with that thought. So I have tried to soothe myself at times by saying like, she was only 2 months, bro, just chill. But then the other side come in of like, well, damn, she ain't gonna know who her pops was, that dude, or she ain't Like I wonder what she was gonna look like at 15 or stuff like that. So it really just depends on what mood I'm in, bro. Cause it does. I know exactly what you mean. It works. Like I've had some sad ass days and been like, well, it was only 2 months, bro. It's all right. Like y'all got the bond, but not that much. So just like don't trip. But then you have the whole other category of what ifs, and then that fuck your head all back up. Like damn, we gonna do this when Derrick will turn 15 and you ain't gonna be there, or you ain't gonna see this, or I wonder if you know, like, your daddy is like that guy and everybody love your pops and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, bro, that part get interesting.
Tell me your relationship with God.
So, bro, I'm not into religion whatsoever. Early on as a kid, I was more so from a forceful place because that's just what we was taught. Like, hey, this is this is that. But I probably say like 2015, after doing like years of research, asking a lot of questions, I just stepped away from religion in totality and just started more so self-governing and trying to tap into the God that I feel like is within all of us.
I agree. I'm not a religious person either. I do believe in a higher power.
Yeah.
And that's within all of us.
Right. Yeah, I tell everybody the closest thing I know to God will be my mom and my dad. Like, that's who cooked it up and pushed me out here. And I strive to try to tap into the inner God in me. But, yeah, bro, that was another moment. I questioned it for years. I took a shroom trip out in Vegas, and I came back down and was like, yep, I got the answer. I'm out. That was another one of those trips.
These trips will do that to you, bro.
They will.
They're super enlightening. They actually say that Moses was tripping on shrooms.
I've heard that, yeah. I heard that too.
When he saw the burning bush.
Right, yeah.
Makes sense to me, bro.
No, it does.
Where do you see yourself at 40?
That's a good one, bro. As much as I want to say chilling, I'm not. I know I'm going to be knee deep in the work.
You're a doer, bro.
Yeah, bro. I got so many children and I love being hands-on and teaching them things. So I know I'm still going to be, real coaching. That's what I'll be doing. I won't be LeBron anymore. I'll be Phil Jackson. That's what I want to do. I want to sit back. I want to be the non-violent Joe Jackson. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
I don't want to whoop ass because I don't believe in whooping ass, but I want to be the Joe Jackson. I want to be the...
So you want to create a Michael?
Absolutely. The Phil Jackson. Yeah, bro. That's what I want to do. That's where I see
Jackson or Jordan, right? Either or.
Right, yeah, but stepping away, period. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I used to think that, but I don't think I ever step away, period. Like, it's in me. And I love the game. I love to compete. I love to fight. I feel like men are made to be warrior-like, so I love frontlining anything good and bad for my family year after year, day after day.
What are your thoughts, feelings on current day politics? What do you think?
I catch you up for this one. Bro, I've been studying Trump for probably 9 years. I'm a huge fan. I don't agree with everything you say, of course, but
yeah.
I fuck with Trump heavy.
Why?
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. He a shit.
I do too, by the way. But
he a shit talker.
Yeah.
He's bold. And I just like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I feel like he embodies what America is built on. I tell everybody, like, only people that follow the rules are the poor, the lazy, and the uneducated. But if you educate yourself to a certain level and you got the resources, America gonna form and bend however you need it to. And I feel like he is a true American. He embodies, when people be like, hey, how does a felon do this? Because that motherfucker know the game, or whoever coaching him know the game.
Right.
So I love that about him, bro. I feel like he is the best symbolism of what America truly is. Like, I feel like a lot of other ones sugarcoated to try to say what need to be said, but I feel like bro just be like, fuck it, this what we doing, this what I said. And y'all ain't finna do nothing about it. And I like that energy, bro. And I've been studying Trump for probably like 8 or 9 years, watching documentaries, got different books. So I like my most expensive guns in my collection of Trump guns. I got Desert Eagle, custom Trump guns, all type of stuff. And I get a lot of hate for that, but I don't give a damn. I like, bro.
So you got like Trump 45, Trump 47?
Yeah. I got the 45. I got the Black Desert Eagle. It's a chrome Desert Eagle with him and all his children on it, the Tommy gun. And I'm missing one, but yeah, the most expensive guns in my collection are my Trump guns.
Do you even know how many guns you have?
Last I counted, bro. I think I was at like 173. Last I counted, but that was a while ago.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, bro. I got one flamethrower. I tried to get into grenade launchers, but the ATF requires a specific license for that, and I didn't want to get that license because they can like visit your home at any point and search and do all this and that. I'm like, I don't want. They already do that at the gun store. I don't want a personal relationship, so I left the grenade launcher alone. But I did, bro. I wanted one bad, and they're not that expensive. They're not as bad as I thought they were, but I left it alone.
Where can you shoot that?
Bro, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I really don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know where I would shoot it, bro. I don't know where, bro. I went through this phase where I just wanted like bigger and better guns than everybody, and I just was buying shit. And then I had to tell myself sometimes, I'm just like, bro, you wasting at this point. Like you're buying stuff like the flamethrowers. It's nothing to do that except light it up in the yard. But
right.
I don't see myself going into battle with a flamethrower that shoot 30 feet of flame. It just ain't necessary. But it was cool
it
for
might
the show.
scare somebody away.
No, it definitely was. It was cool to show it, but that was it.
Tell me, what do you want your children to remember about you?
So, bro, it's funny you asked that. In my latest project, The Family Bible, in the very beginning of it, I have a part where we talk about your origin story and your mantra. And I feel like every family has to have that. I feel like a lot of families don't have a collective identity or purpose because that isn't instilled. So our biggest influences end up being what we want to emulate and be like at a later date. But for me, bro, it'll be power. It'll be dominance. It'll be poise, royalty, aggressive intelligence, and for my boys especially, I just want them to adopt the warrior spirit. I feel like to thrive in America, you have to have a warrior mentality. Even my daughters, like my oldest daughter is one of the fiercest young ladies I've ever met. Really, I haven't met too many daughters like mine that, she gets into the things I get into and she's able to adapt. But those would be my top things, bro. Just being fierce, being respectable, being honorable, and being willing to live and die with your choices. And that's one thing I feel like a lot of people shy away from or don't even embrace. Like, that's how you feel it, that's what you're standing on, don't budge or stand down for anything. Stand for what you believe in and be willing to die about it.
I love that. And I agree with that 1,000%. Back in the day, families used to have a shield and a crest, right? Yep. And your last name, it meant something. Yep. It stood for something, right? Absolutely, there were principles and values attached to your last name.
Absolutely.
And we lost all that.
No, for sure.
Completely.
Yeah.
And I love that you're someone that's bringing that back, that's staying true to your values, to your principles, setting the bar high for your kids. I think people like you are rare, needed, because I think you mentioned this earlier, right? You are setting the standard. Mm-hmm. You're one of those men, bro, you have 10 children.
Yeah.
How many people have 10 children?
Right.
And it's successul. And it's a millionaire. It has a bunch of businesses. It has, you have your hands in multiple things, right? Like, when do you sleep? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's very difficult to have the discipline to be able to have that time management to do everything that you're able to do and accomplish.
I agree. That's a huge one for me, bro. That is a huge one. That time management and that discipline is, I feel like that's what separates the men from the boys.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Have you seen Ashton Hall and his morning routine?
I have.
Viral?
I have.
Do you have a morning routine?
To To be completely honest, bro, my morning routine, I'm usually motivated by the money I wake up to. So
Ching ching.
I check that. I practice gratitude daily. And I have times where I wake up and I just be like, we did it, y'all. I'm in this motherfucker another day. We alive. We gonna kill it. And I ain't gonna lie, bro, for me, the perfect morning routine per se is intimacy in the morning. I feel like that helps for me. That it's like nothing better than conquering your partner than going to conquer the day. Like that energy just it motivates me to go kill shit once I kill something personally in the room, to step out into the real world and go kill something again.
It's a great way to start your morning.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm a curious person. I'm curious to know how this dynamic works in your house with two women. Is it separate bedrooms? How does this work?
Yeah, bro, it's separate bedrooms.
Yeah.
I have been in situations where we all were in the same room, but that's not always effective, and everybody doesn't understand that sharing is caring. So yeah, bro, a lot of times separate rooms is best. But yeah, like my current dynamic is separate rooms. It's a room here, then way on the other side of the house, it's another room. And
is there a schedule? How do you how do you divide your time?
That's a good question, bro. At times it is scheduled but like a permanent schedule, no, because I pivot a lot. And
Okay.
I be moving around doing my own thing, but I do have conversations with each one at times to be mindful. Like, this weekend I'm going to be back and forth upstairs. So basically, bro, my code word is I say, don't double book me. And they understand, like, all right, take it easy because he's going to be overly loving on so-and-so this weekend. Or sometimes they do double book me, bro, and I have to just show up. And I'm not going to lie, it be stressful sometimes. It ain't always like fun and easy because everybody have needs. And
a lot of emotions involved.
Right, and as a man, it's just irresponsible to add these people and then be like, well, I'm sorry, I can't do nothing for you. I can't help you. So sometimes I do say no, but then there's sometimes where I just got to saddle up and be like, all right, so I'm finna get pulled in two directions a total of 5 times a day. Figure it out. And I just figure it out.
Gotta drink that green juice.
Yeah. You ain't lying, bro.
Man, tell me, if you could tell your 21-year-old self something, what would you tell him?
My 21-year-old self, I would tell him be careful who you procreate with, and I would tell him to fail faster. Fail fast. I would tell that to anybody. Fail fast for sure. Don't sit on your ideas. Don't wait all day. Start waiting on the perfect time. Jump out the window. Let it do what it's going to do. Let life be what it's going to be. Learn your lessons, reinvest, and keep going.
Powerful.
Yeah, appreciate it.
How do you live? How do you want the world to remember you? How do you want the world to look back and say what your impact was?
I want the world to remember me for individuality, free will, free thinking, and independence. And I want them to know that I know for sure, culturally especially, me and my family pioneered self-education. We made homeschooling attractive. We made children picking up guns attractive. And I want them to know, like, I will not know when they look back, like you said, I want them to know, like, everything I talked about, I live. I don't believe in, like, teaching on things I haven't lived. So that's one way I protect myself. I only speak on things that I've actually done and am educated on. And I want them to know, like, through and through, everything I ever attempted to give them was validated, and that was really my life and how I was moving.
What would you tell someone that's lacking value or lacking self-worth?
Man, the biggest thing is gonna be to me with the self-worth is developing their why. And I know for me, like I feel like a lot of people sleep on and overlook the phenomenon of procreation, and that we had two strangers meet at some point, decide to have sex, and our moms was strategic and secure enough to bring us into the world. So to have the audacity to get here and not amount to shit and not become shit is just crazy, and I feel like that's a slap in the face to the people who took the time to even create you to begin with. So for me, bro, with the self-awareness, the biggest thing would be the why and identifying their purpose, their talents, their gifts. And I tell most people, like, my personal opinion, what they're amazing at, they're typically already doing. They just do it subconsciously, so they haven't figured out, like, it's somebody, right, that's going to watch this interview, and every time their family going through it, that's the person they call.
Right.
You have a gift for problem solving. You know how to cultivate a safe space where people are comfortable enough to unwind and let their hair down and tell you their deepest, darkest secrets and the adversity they're dealing with. So I think that's huge. I think that's something everybody should work on while they're here, is just identifying your purpose, your gifts, your talents. And then from there, you know, you can make the choice to monetize them, but just at least internally knowing who you are, why you're here, and carrying that purpose out to the best of your abilities.
What would you tell a dad that is struggling to be a father?
Damn, that's a good one. I would remind them that children don't ask for this welcome party to the world. We force it on them. So it's our responsibility to show up and do what we can to help them navigate this crazy-ass world as best as they can. What I would also tell that father is just really take the time to identify his strengths and his weaknesses and probably his latest or most darkest points of trauma, because that's typically where a lot of people get stuck at, which stagnates their growth to evolve into what they really should be. So, like, he may have went through something with his mom or dad, so there's a block there in terms of the emotional side of it. I know, like, some dads that can't hug their children. That's the example I give. So he
That's
may
real.
he may have went through something with his pops at 14 and never got that. So
Right.
it's important to identify those traumas and actually meet them head on, so you don't pour that same shit onto your children. So those would be my two pieces of advice to any man that's struggling to be a dad.
Man, you're an incredible person, bro.
I appreciate it, bro.
You have a huge
Thank
heart. You know that?
Thank you, bro. Yeah,
Huge
I do.
fucking heart.
I do, bro. I appreciate
Huge,
it.
bro.
That should get me in trouble sometimes.
Huge
but-
heart. The amount of people that you feed just because of what you've built,
Right.
people you employ, and people that depend on you is incredible. Power to you,
Appreciate
bro.
that, bro.
It's powerful.
I appreciate it.
It really
Thank you.
is. Please look at that camera. Let people know where they can find you.
Gotcha.
Your website, your IG, your
Yep.
course, your program, when you're speaking, whatever you want to promote.
That's bro. First and foremost, I appreciate, bro, for having me. And number two, y'all, if anybody want to find me, you can find everything under my government name, either Derrick Grace II or Derrick Grace II, TWO. DerrickGrace2.com is my website. All the books, courses, classes, curriculums. If you have not got your hands on the Family Bible, again, I suggest you do. I think that's one of the most relevant bodies of work that I've put out to date, and it goes hand in hand with this crazy-ass world that we're currently living in. One thing I want to simply remind y'all of, if I wrap it up, is we're currently in an era where I think the next 2 to 5 years are going to make or break some people. And for the people that get broken in the midst of this, I genuinely believe it's going to take you generations to get back to start, to try to have a fighting shot. Between AI, between the cost of living, violence, and things of that nature, I think the wealth gap is about to get bigger and worse for those who aren't ready than it ever has. So if you don't get help here, get help somewhere. Figure it out. Find your tribe. The country in this world completely ran by families. So find your tribe, find your family, find whatever form of relative you need, and y'all put up whatever fight y'all can to make it out of here. But again, all my social media website, either Derrick Grace II or DerrickGrace2.com for everything.
I'll make sure to put a link in the description. And I'm going to give me
bro.
that Family Bible.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
I got to give me a copy of that.
Appreciate you, bro.
I'm actually trying to find a way to have this convo with my kids. So this will be a great way.
Right, absolutely, bro, for sure.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, bro. Great
thank you for having
conversation.
me.
Amazing conversation, man. Thank you.
Bro.
Guys, go follow Derrick. He's an amazing person, incredible heart, incredible father, incredible entrepreneur. Go follow him. Go buy his curriculum if you're into homeschooling.
Yep.
Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time.